Chaos Pad has been an indispensable production tool for thousands of artists, DJs, and engineers for years, with over 30,000 sold in the U.S. alone. Korg takes Chaos to the next level with the KP3, our easiest, best-sounding, most powerful Chaos Pad yet, and winner of Keyboard Magazine's coveted Key Buy Award. It has massive effects, powerful sampling and resampling, total computer connectivity, and loads of other mind-blowing features that make it a truly playable instrument and a perfect addition to any live or studio rig. As you'd expect, it's loaded with tons of cutting-edge creative effects. Grain shifters, decimators, and real-time sample stretching, compressing, and pitch shifting give the KP3 the power to mangle your sound any way you can imagine. KP3 even has Korg's killer radius synthesizer effects, like a multi-mode filter, VOCODER, and drum, bass, and lead synth sounds. The pad itself has a grid of 64 bright red LEDs which react and provide visual feedback to your every move. It displays program names, and you can even create your own customized scrolling messages. Big, sturdy knobs let you instantly adjust input volume, effect depth, effect selection, and BPM. The KP3 has fast, accurate BPM detection and automatically syncs the delay and LFO-based effects to the incoming signal's tempo. You can manually adjust the BPM either by dialing it in or tapping. The hold button lets you freeze your position on the pad when you find that sacred sweet spot. You can also use the hold function to tap on the pad, modulating the effect to your own rhythm. The pad motion button lets you record your finger movements and play them back, looping either forward or reversed. You can use the 8 function buttons above the pad to store and recall your favorite effects. The new effects release gives you a smooth transition back to the original sound when you lift your finger off the pad, with a BPM synced delay effect. Use the fader on the left side of the KP3 to control effects release depth, as well as the volume of your samples. You can even mix right on the pad. Each of these 4 sample buttons can hold either a one-shot or a looped sample, and they're color-coded, green for a loop or red for a one-shot. These samples, measured in beats rather than seconds, can be slowed down and sped up in real time, just by changing the tempo. The advanced BPM detection makes sure your loops are always in perfect sync. The KP3 is ready to connect to everything in your studio or live rig. There are RCA ins and outs with a direct send switch, so you can use it in an effects loop. There are also MIDI in and out ports, plus a USB connection. On the front of the KP3, there are mic and headphone connections with volume and trim knobs. This SD card slot accepts standard, inexpensive SD cards up to 2 gigabytes in size. That's enough room for hours of samples. That USB port is great for sending samples to and from the KP3. Use the included editor software to manage samples, reorder effect programs, and set up external control. You can transmit MIDI messages from the pad, the slider, the effect depth knob, and the hold, sample, and function buttons. The USB port also lets the KP3 receive messages for automation and live sequencing. You can even set up the pad to control 8 faders at once in your favorite sequencer with visual feedback to show you where your levels are set. Set up the sample buttons as rewind, play, stop, record, and fast forward, and the KP3 makes a perfect control surface. There's always room in your setup for an instrument that will help take your sound further, and the Korg KP3 Chaos Pad is the perfect addition. It's a mad scientist's laboratory of sound sculpting effects. It's a powerhouse sampler for production and live performance. It's a flexible MIDI controller, and it's waiting for your guiding hand. Take control of the KP3 and add some serious chaos to your music.